After going into the love lives of Roger, Haley and Steve, I thought it was only time to now look at the most overlooked member of the Smith family household, Klaus.
We both know what this is! It's love. Forever love!
This little fish might be the butt of everyone's jokes, but when it comes to romance, does he reel in the ladies, or just ends up floundering?
I'm not very much of a man!
Let's dive into the murky waters of Klaus's relationships and find out. Also, I hope you're liking the fish puns because there's a lot more coming. But first off, I've been getting so many comments asking where I've been lately, as I haven't been posting as much. And there's actually 2 reasons. I had my baby a few months ago. And before anyone asks, no, her name is not Maggie, Lisa, or Meg. Sorry to disappoint you. And the other reason is that when I do find time to make videos like my hour-long worst thing every Bob's Burgers character has ever done, it's hit by 48 copyright claims. So thanks, Disney. I've contested it, so it might go live within a month, but if you don't want to wait, you can always check out on my Patreon for just £1. Now, let's get on with the video. Let's start by going way back to the pilot and explore his first and very creepy crush on Francine.
You know, perhaps when you are finished there, you would stick your naughty pinky finger into mine bowl and let me feel you.
And that's the very first impression we get of Klaus, a perverted fish. His next scene is him getting jealous of Stan kissing her.
This is Tim! You and I are meant to be happy hour!
And by the third scene, Klaus is already peeking up her skirt.
Oh, Francine, I can see your Schmutzplätzchen.
So, within the first episode, the show already establishes him as a professional aquarium gooner. But at the end of the day, she's a woman and he's a fish. It would never ever work.
I'd do lots of things if I had a human body. Because, you know, I'd have a penis.
Unless, of course, Klaus would get his human body back, which is exactly what happened in Season 1's Finances with Wolves. In the episode, Francine opens up her own muffin kiosk and stands furious because he now has to make his own breakfast. Klaus steps in with a solution, which is he'll cook for Stan, but only if he can get a human body back.
I just need a pan, some butter, white wine, a little paprika, oh, and my brain back in a human body.
And instead of just cracking an egg like a normal person, he then takes Klaus to the CIA and picks out a body.
Ooh, I want to be 6'2", blonde, blue eyes, and scars. I want my face to tell a story.
Klaus winds up in the body of an Earth, Wind and Fire cover band member, and the first dish he serves up is scrambled brains.
How many eggs should I eat to get enough energy to plow your wife?
3 should do it. What?
From there, he ties Stan up, flushes his old fish body down the toilet, buys the biggest condoms he can find, and immediately finds Franny and asks her out.
You know, you seem very familiar. Have we met before?
I'm just one of those black Germans that seems familiar to everyone.
And in the food hall, Klaus lays on the smooth moves, like offering her some chips.
Stan never offers me chips. Oh, no, thanks. I don't like chips. At least he offered.
Stan finds them, and before he can shoot, Franny stops him.
I'm talking about respect, Stan.
Oh my God, you respected her? You're dead, Klaus!
And just as Franny finds out the truth, an eco-warrior blows up an offensive glass statue of a Native American. And while Klaus saves himself, Stan pushes Franny out of the way, but karma comes fast as Klaus ends up getting crushed anyway.
My beautiful body, I'm not going to make it.
And to save him, they put Klaus's mind in the body of a fish.
Now I know why they say, once you've been black, there's no going back.
I've said this before, but Klaus really is his own worst enemy. He finally gets his body back, and what does he do? He tries to sleep with a married woman and ends up destroying his new body. He lets his libido get in the way when really he could have started a brand new life. Klaus having the hots for Francine is very reminiscent of Brian pining for Lois, but unlike Family Guy, which kept this gag going on for decades, AD dropped it pretty quickly, and I'm glad they did, because it makes Klaus far too creepy. Thankfully, he was developed beyond this singular horny trait, and became one of the funniest characters in the entire show. The reason for dialing back Klaus's creep factor was because the writers wanted to make him more like his voice actor. Producer Brian Boyle said this in an interview. We had D. Bradley Baker as Klaus, and for the first 4 or 5 years the character was a ledge. Turns out D is a sweet guy, and we started playing Klaus as a much sweeter guy. Now he matches Dee's personality better and the character becomes much richer. And I think his crush well and truly ended in this scene from season 4's Big Trouble in Little Langley. This is when Francine asked everyone if they made it out of the fire safely except for Klaus.
And Klaus, is Klaus okay?
Too late, Francine. Too late.
When I first started watching AD, I really didn't like Klaus, but he's easily become one of my favourite characters thanks to his one-liners.
Who's your least favorite character now, Reddit?
In my opinion, Klaus's obsession with Francine wasn't just about a crush. It's about feeling trapped. Being a man stuck inside a fish's body takes away almost everything. His power, his freedom, and any real chance of intimacy. Chasing Francine is really him grasping at the tiniest scrap of human desire that he could find. The show leans into the comedy, making his declarations of love creepy but harmless. Still, underneath all of the laughs, it is pretty sad. It's a reminder that he will always be an outsider. So, what Klaus really needs is to meet someone his own size and preferably his own species. And in season 6's White Rice, he finally gets this chance when Steve brings home a fish that he won at a carnival. And at first, Steve wants to blow her up, but Klaus has another idea.
Why don't you drop her in my bowl? I'd be happy for the companionship, even if it is with a normal non-speaking fish. Hi, I'm Klaus. What's your sign? Pisces.
Things move at a lightning speed, and before long, they're tying the knot. Steve even buys them a wedding present, which is a brand new larger tank, which really makes you wonder, why has Klaus never been given a bigger tank before this moment? Seriously, this man has been living in a cramped small bowl for years. Anyway, Klaus and his new bride waste no time and soon have a bunch of little guppies. And it should be a sweet, happy occasion, except she eats them.
And poor little Susan, she only ate half of her. She wasn't even hungry. She was just eating to eat.
I know this is paid for laughs, but I've always felt so bad for Klaus here. He genuinely looks devastated that his babies were eaten. Married life quickly loses its shine and Klaus starts to resent her.
I hate your face so much.
And honestly, who could blame him? If my partner started eating my baby, I'd be looking at divorce papers too. And maybe an electric chair. And the next time we see her, Klaus has killed her and is dragging her body away. What happened to the rest of their babies is anyone's guess. Maybe she ate them all. Maybe Klaus tried to save a few and they're out somewhere. It would actually be hilarious if one of those guppies showed up years later and Klaus suddenly had to play daddy. Kind of like that Family Guy episode where Brian discovers that he has a son. But really, even if she hadn't snacked on their kids, their marriage was doomed from the start. Klaus might look like a fish, but he's technically a human while she was just a fish. A regular old mindless fish. At its core, this storyline only shows Klaus's ongoing attempts at finding companionship. So, heading into season 10, we still don't know too much about Klaus's life before his mind was swapped with the fishes. But in the episode My Fair Lady, we finally get a peek at his past, because Klaus reveals that he once dated a beautiful woman called Elsa, and he was head over heels in love. And things were going great, right up until one day when he caught her cheating on him, with the entire East German bobsled team. And even years later, Klaus is clearly wounded, calling her up just to leave a sad little message on her answering machine.
Ah yes, this message is for Hans Jr. Your mom is a total slut.
There isn't too much more to this story except for the fact that it shows how stuck he is on his ex. Beneath all those scales, he's still holding onto the pain and longing of losing her. And Klaus may look like a fish, but heartbreak simply doesn't just swim away. And aside from this, it also emphasised just how miserable of a life this character had even before he was turned into a fish. But Klaus will forget all about Elsa when he hooks up with Roger of all people. In one of the weirdest and most uncomfortable episodes ever, Klaus has been chatting with a mysterious person online, and they arrange to meet, and surprise, it's Roger. Since they're already at the restaurant, they share a meal, which somehow escalates into some very sweaty sex, and Klaus only has one question afterwards.
Does this make us gay?
God, no, I'm an alien. I wish people thought I was gay.
They decide to keep it a secret from the family, launching into a steamy, clandestine affair that gives us some of the weirdest imagery that American Dad has ever given us. And that's saying a lot. Eventually, Stan and Francine catch them in the act and Roger drops the love bomb.
In fact, I want to shout it from the rooftops. Klaus and I are in love.
But once the affair is out in the open, Klaus loses interest.
It was so wrong, so dangerous, so taboo. Sorry, boy, but I am out.
A heartbroken Roger tries to win him back with some very freaky roleplay.
Well, you said you wanted taboo, right? Well, what's more taboo than making sexy with your own daughter?
And Klaus tries to let him down gently, but love has no fury like a Roger scorned, and Klaus ends up arrested due to a misunderstanding.
He won't sleep with me anymore!
Who's he?
He's my father and my lover!
But Klaus doesn't care as long as it gets him far away as possible from Roger.
Guess who got himself arrested?
Oh, donkey balls.
And then in true Roger fashion, he shanks Klaus's prison girlfriend, lands in solitary confinement, and Klaus instantly becomes the prison bitch again.
All right, looks like I'm back on the market.
Strike that! Looks like I'm spoken for!
Eventually, they are both released.
I don't want to talk about what happened in prison.
Roger comes to the realization that he was so hung up on Klaus because he was scared of being alone. Their brief passionate affair was chaotic as it was unstable. Klaus thrived on the taboo and secret of it all, but Roger ultimately craves attention and validation. It was doomed from the start and was never going to work out in the long term.
Isn't this great, babe?
Yeah, no, I hate this.
Next, let's talk about Haley's friend Danuta. In season 14, Shark, Danuta wants Haley to hook her up with Klaus.
He's kinda hot.
Klaus?
Yeah, he seems funny.
And of course, he's totally into her too.
You wouldn't be interested, would you?
Yeah, baby, it's on.
But he just has one request.
Oh, and tell Danuta to get fully waxed, but not the butthole.
Haley encourages Klaus to call Danuta, but he is very, very nervous, leading on to one of the funniest moments ever on the show.
Danuta,
Who is this?
do you eat?
What the hell is this?
I've got the money.
I laughed so hard when I watched this the first time.
Danuta.
Klaus, so that was chilling.
So yeah, it is clear that Klaus has absolutely no game. I mean, this is what he asks her on their date.
What's like the grossest disease you've ever gotten?
I don't know. Gingivitis?
And surprisingly, she's actually into it.
Play your cards right, and later I'll give you something much worse.
You're funny.
Klaus tries to win her a prize at a basketball carnival game, but ends up smacking dozens of kids in the face. All Danuta wants to do is cuddle, but Klaus's mind is completely on the game.
You keep begging me for this f***ing munion, then flap your lips every time I take a shot!
Hours pass and Klaus spends $300 to get a prize. Then he discovers that Danuta is making out with his buddy. Haley tries to make him feel better, but he completely misreads the situation.
What are you doing?
I thought you were putting out the vibe.
Are you kidding me? No!
And with that, he tosses his minion into the ride and Danuta flies off. Klaus really is hopeless. A beautiful woman actually finds him hot and funny, and he totally blows it. He somehow sabotages a sure thing by focusing on a Rastafarian minion. That said, I've played carnival games like this before, and they are addictive. I've blown far too much money just to win a cheap old plushie. I mean, just look at all these toys I won at Universal Studios. I spent far too much money. So, with Danuta out of the picture and probably out of orbit, let's now move on to Shoshana. In season 15's Cheek to Cheek, a stripper story, Klaus needs more space and asks Steve if he can put his new pink doghouse in his room. This is when we're introduced to Klaus's new beau, Shoshana.
So, what do you think of Steve?
I don't like him.
The two argue and bicker all night, and when Steve calls the police for a noise complaint, he's the one who ends up being tased.
Aggression!
By the time Steve returns from the station, Klaus and Shoshana have upgraded from the doghouse into a full room. Just a season later in Men to Boys, Klaus announces that they're getting married.
Shoshana said yes! Well, she said yeah, I guess, but it still counts. She backed out! She's back in!
However, the twist is that Klaus was never actually going to get married because Shoshana dumped him months ago and he just wanted to throw a bachelor party so he could hang out with his buddies. Klaus reveals that she got to keep his beloved Instant Pot in the breakup. So the guys come up with a plan to get it back. Klaus knocks on her door to distract her, but it turns out that Shoshana actually missed him and wants to get back together. Unfortunately though, the boys breaking in and entering ruins the moment. In the very brief scenes that we saw of Klaus and Shoshana, they seemed pretty dysfunctional.
I feel like you're just with me for my house!
She hated his friend Steve and they argued constantly, and on top of that, their relationship was very hot and cold, with Shoshana repeatedly cancelling on their engagement. Their brief love affair was clearly very volatile, so it's probably for the best they broke up. A couple of years ago, I released a video entitled American Dad's Cruelest Joke, Klaus, where I went into how, just like Meg, he's basically the family punching bag.
Klaus, punt!
The only one who genuinely treats him nicely is Haley. The two are pretty good buds, and they are so close that they can communicate telepathically.
Use the secret mental telepathy we share to bring down Steve?
No, I say we mess with Steve without using our powers.
So it makes sense why she came to his defense in season 15's One Fish, Two Fish. When Klaus is found to be in the US illegally, he's set to be deported. So Haley divorces Jeff and marries Klaus so he could stay in the country legally. But first they need to prove that their marriage is legit during an interview with an immigration officer.
What's Klaus's favorite food?
Oh, white rice with lots
Hot
of butter.
dogs.
What the hell, Klaus?
I panicked.
The biggest problem is that they are two completely different species. The officer's not buying it, and to make the ruse more convincing, Haley goes to the CIA and has her mind put into a goldfish body.
Why didn't you just make me a human?
Wow, that would have been a great idea. If you'd mentioned it to me yesterday.
To look like a real married couple, they share a bowl, but things get complicated when Klaus's melting combines with Haley's eggs to produce a ton of fish babies. These fishes seem a lot more aware than Klaus's other babies, which begs the question, what the hell happened to them? They completely disappear right after this, and I hope to God that Haley didn't eat them. Anyway, even though it's all pretend, they still fight like an old married couple. However, this actually works in their favour because the immigration officer overhears and says only married couples fight like that. Later on, the officer admits that she secretly wishes that their marriage was a sham because she has the hots for Klaus. And being the horny fish that he is, Klaus comes clean and reveals the truth.
It's go time.
Actually, I need about 10 minutes for my pill to kick in.
So the two get deported and sent to Mexico, even though Klaus is German. But it was probably a good thing that he was sent south, otherwise he would never have met Rosita.
You are not the most beautiful prostitute in Mexico, but you are the most affordable.
And so Klaus pretending to be in sexual relationships will become a recurring theme.
Rosita, you taught me so much about the art of lovemaking.
To cut a long story short, they make it back across the border and Stan grants Klaus citizenship rights.
I hereby dub you an American.
And while Haley was never a true romantic interest, it definitely deserves a mention because they were married and they had children together. Even though the story is really about their friendship.
Thank you, Klaus.
Oh, we're gonna get out of this yet.
And sure, Haley mostly helped Klaus at the start because Danuta accused her of being selfish and unhelpful, but I think that Haley would have helped out regardless. And speaking of Danuta, she told Klaus this to avoid ever seeing him again.
Wait, you've been talking to Danuta? She told me she was dead!
That's right, Klaus effed up their date so badly, she literally told him she died. So let's now move on to Sarah. In the season 17 episode Epic Power Dump, the Smiths are planning a trip to a ski cabin when Klaus walks in.
But seriously, what are you guys up to? Can I do it too, please?
Man, I feel so bad for Klaus sometimes. The family goes without him, leaving Klaus time to set up his own home office. When he doesn't receive a dial tone on his landline, he calls up tech support and Sarah picks up.
You understand me?
Sure. This must be frustrating.
Klaus is instantly in love, but he accidentally hangs up on her. Sarah! He spends hours trying to track Sarah down, even calling the CEO. Klaus finds Snot hanging out in the house, and being the expert tracker he is, Snot helps locate her. Piecing together the little tiny details, they manage to pinpoint her to Virginia. And in a very creepy but also kind of romantic way, they discover where she lives. So Klaus rings her bell, but she doesn't answer.
I guess it wasn't meant to be.
And in a twist, Sarah was also trying to locate Klaus and was actually at his house the entire time.
I guess it wasn't meant to be.
Klaus really does have the worst luck in love, doesn't he? I know it's all part of the show's tragic comedy, but I still wish we'd see at least one scene of Klaus and Sarah meeting at the end. It's a shame that Klaus finally found someone who genuinely liked him in return, only for it not to work out. Again. It's just another chapter in Klaus's tragically complicated love life. And maybe, considering the circumstances, it could have been a different story. So finally, we come to his latest girlfriend, the Wraith. So Klaus and Jeff are out enjoying a pleasant afternoon at an estate sale, and the boys buy an enchanted hair comb.
What's with all the weird writing on the side?
Whatever, man. It's gonna look sick in my alcove. Let's boogie.
They boogie on home, and that night Klaus wakes up to find the house freezing. When he goes downstairs, he sees the comb moving, and it turns out that there is a wraith living inside of it. Now, a normal person would panic, call an exorcist, or get the hell out of there, but Klaus immediately sleeps with the spirit and proudly calls her his girlfriend.
I get it, man. I passed out last night too. From exhaustion. From all the lovemaking.
She tags along to the boys' pickle game, but of course she completely freaks out Jeff. The wraith turns out to be a total Yoko Ono and crashes the boys' jam sessions.
I think our songs should be darker. Wraithier.
Really? You wanted our music to be wraithier even before you two met?
Things boil over when Klaus ditches Jeff and their dream lake house plans to shack up with his ghost girlfriend instead. After ruining yet another pleasant afternoon, Jeff turns to Roger for help.
Steal the comb and give it to someone else. It's the only way to break them up.
Jeff sneaks in, swipes the comb, and suddenly he and Klaus are back to having the perfect afternoon together, except Klaus can't stop worrying about his missing boo. And he should be worried because Jeff handed the comb over to Tuttle.
That's how I looked last night, for like an hour, after the sex that lasted 30 seconds.
Klaus is crushed, so crushed that he can't even muster up the energy for their pleasant afternoon.
Care for a pleasant afternoon?
Sorry, but I'm too depressed about losing the love of my life.
So to cheer him up, Jeff takes Klaus to the cabin. Realizing he's messed up, he calls up Roger to get the comb back before coming clean to Klaus. And instead of being pierced, Klaus is actually touched.
That's the most beautiful thing that anyone has ever done for me.
So Klaus does what he thinks is the right thing by setting the wraith free by breaking the comb. Yeah, bad idea. That's when we find out that Klaus completely lied about them sleeping together.
You didn't? Easy now. We did some stuff.
No, we didn't.
And right before she kills him, Jeff asks her this.
You're free now. Do you really want to kill us?
I don't know what I want.
What do you want?
Visit every Major League Baseball stadium over one unforgettable summer.
And now she's finally free, the group goes on a summer-long tour of all of the Major League Baseball parks.
And that's how a pleasant afternoon turned into the greatest summer of our lives.
Meanwhile, poor Tuttle comes home to his beloved Wraith only to find that she's gone.
Oh, she's gone!
Now, can we ever even call Wraith Klaus's girlfriend? I mean, there's a massive power imbalance here. She isn't free, she's tied to the comb, which makes her less of a partner and more of a possession. And on top of that, they weren't even physical, Klaus just made that all up. He wasn't in a real relationship, he was just in a role-playing one. Which seems to be a recurring theme with Klaus. So out of all of these women, fish and ghosts, who is Klaus's true love? Well, it's kind of slim pickings here. Hell, I'd say Klaus has had the most chemistry with Roger. While researching this video, I was honestly surprised by how few romantic interests Klaus has had, especially compared to Roger and Steve. I think American Dad is missing a trick here because in the rare episodes where Klaus does get romantic, it produces a lot of genuinely funny moments. Ultimately, Klaus is kind of a tragic character. His unfulfilled longing for companionship, both romantic and platonic, is a big part of the joke. And I guess it is good that it's not overplayed, unlike with Steve, whose episodes mostly revolve around girls. And so we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to watch that Bob's Burgers video that I was talking about, which is an hour long, then check out my Patreon to see it early. The link is in the description.